4, 3, 2, 1. Here we go.
What up, everybody? I cannot believe, well, I can believe there are 1,000 people on this call. And I know from my East Coast people, East Coast, what up? It is like, it's 9 o'clock our time, but it's really 10 o'clock our time, let's be honest, because the time just changed. And we were all feeling it before the call until I got on here. And I'm like, phew, just the energy that we are feeling from you guys virtually. We're all talking. We're like, oh my gosh, are you nervous? I'm nervous because we're so excited, really. The nerves are they're just excitement about what's possible for you guys as you go through this journey, as you learn from each of us. We're each kind of getting to share our niche, a thing that's most dear to us, the thing that we can add the most value in. And for me personally, it always goes back to that initial vision as a coach. So one, I hope you have Notepad out because we're going to be going through things very quickly. We have a lot for you. But for me personally, I know people get like overwhelmed, like, oh my gosh, I'm not very creative. I don't think I'm a visionary kind of person. But friend, if you ever knew or thought about what you wanted to be when you were a little kid, that's vision. You just thinking about your preferred future is exactly what vision is. So all you're thinking about is what could be and also what should be for your future. In the different areas of your life, the different sectors of your life, what does that look like ideally if you are to eventually get there? So I'm going to ask you a few different questions that I want you to jot down to help you develop that vision. And of course, you can do it a little bit on this call, but more so I want you to get off this call and really define this, because the clearer you make this, the more it will draw you in. So here are the questions. If time and resources were of no object anymore, I'm not saying you're a multimillionaire. I'm just saying you're making a solid income, all your debt is paid off, now you have more time freedom. Who is it that you're actually spending time with? Why is that important to you? And then what would you be doing with that time with them? The next question I would be asking you are, what are your top 3 priorities? And if time and if money are no object anymore, they're not the stressors in your life, how are you honoring those things, those top 3 priorities in your life? The next thing would be travel. Do you want to travel? What are the places that you want to go? Why do you want to go there? Have you ever thought about sitting down and writing out a bucket list? I mean, you get this one precious life. Where are the places that you really want to go, and write down why you want to go there, what you're going to do there. Don't just say Italy. I want you to pinpoint the city, what you're doing there, why you're so freaking excited for that moment to come, because when it comes, it'll be that much more gratifying. And as you kind of crank out things with your goals to get there, it's going to be way more compelling than just to say, Italy. If Italy is on your bucket list, then I want you to go find that city. I want you to find a picture. I want you to find a restaurant that you want to go to. And I want you to have it in mind on who you're there with. For me, now, my next vision is my family. Originally, it was a top 10 trip. So next thing, and this is something I think people scan over. They think about the big things, right? But what does your daily life look like? Like if you were to change your life, you don't have debt, you don't have time burdens, what does your day-to-day life look like? For me, it's not really fancy. I think a lot of times on Instagram, people are like, I don't know, I don't really have anything special about my life. I perfectly designed this life to live in this outfit right here 5 days a week. I love that life. The boring life is exactly what I want, filled with sprinkles of crazy exotic vacations and not worrying about splurges that we make. But you got to think about what you want that ideal life to look like. The more crystal clear you get, the more it compels you. But I also want you to think about the opposite of that, because when I look back at my journey, it wasn't just the vision of how things could be and why they should be that way. It was also the vision of, oh my gosh, what will life look like if I don't go after these things and I fail to actually show up and live the life that I'm wanting to live. And so just for an example, I have this picture, and this was the picture that was hung. It wasn't by my desk because I didn't have a desk when I was a brand new coach. It was like my couch, and wherever I would be, if I had a laptop, I would have this picture up. And this is my daughter, who's now 10. She was 1 at the time. And I had a vision of how I wanted life to be for us. And I would talk about, when she's in school and they have a recital, that I would always be able to make it, that I would never have to miss that recital. But I also thought about the fact that what it would look like for her if I couldn't show up, if I was just kind of staying with the same childhood I had, what that would feel like for me as a mom, knowing I hadn't broken that chain. I had to think about both because sometimes it's the negative ones that drove me even more than the positive ones. And then when I was setting goals, I had them attached to that vision. So I have this is actually on my bathroom wall when I was trying to go 15-star for the first time. And I had these everywhere. It says, you are a 15-star diamond coach. It wasn't just about becoming a 15-star diamond coach. It was never about, walking across the stage. It was this vision that I had in mind that kept me cranking, that kept me fueled throughout the night when I was doing power hours from 9 p.m. to 3 a.m. to be able to eventually have that vision come true. So as you are creating your vision board, I want you to think about those questions. The more concise and specific you get, the more this is going to drive you. And I'm going to throw it over to Ashley, who's going to kind of go deeper into that.
Okay. Oh my gosh, my heart is beating. Okay, so because what I'm supposed to be talking about is kind of, I think, believing in what it is that you put out there without fail, right? You're going to believe to the fullest, even though that there's going to be doubts. And what is so surreal to me is I want you guys to imagine this, because this right now was impossible for me when I first started, okay? I used to watch YouTube trainings. Lindsay Matway didn't know who I was. Janelle Summers didn't know who I was. Christina Delgado didn't know. Brittany Leggett. I watched their YouTube trainings, and now I'm hosting a call with them. So imagine that in 5 years' time, when you put in the work and you do, you're going to craft this vision, right? It's not going to be easy to get there. It's going to be really freaking hard at lots of times. But what if 5 years from now, you're co-hosting a call with people because you've made it in this business? People that don't know your name now, right? That you think are the big deal, and you're going to be the big deal. But it takes massive belief. And so what I want you to do, yes, have that future. I see a lot of you resonating with you want this simple life that Lindsay laid out. You want this simple life. And that's great, but I want you to believe and dream really big. Believe in the impossible, because the way to get that simple life, the staying in PJs all day if you want, and taking your kids to the bus stop, picking them up, whatever it is that makes your life what you want, you have to believe that those things are possible for you. And how is that going to happen? And I want you to think about everything that we have in our lives was once impossible. Right? The internet didn't exist. Social media didn't exist. Beachbody didn't exist. Carl had the audacity to think, hey, I'm going to create a network. And I don't know exactly what the stats are on that, but for sure he experienced headwinds. And I remember hearing something like P90X failed 6 times or something like that. And finally on the 7th time, it caught fire and the company was able to take off and be successful. Same with Nike. If you've ever listened to the book Shoe Dog, there were so many times Nike shouldn't exist. It's a multi-billion-dollar company, and there are so many times it shouldn't exist. So your dreams are possible. You just have to believe that they are. And the only place that our future exists is in our minds. So you get to create it. And a lot of times we create our future based on our past, right? If you struggled with Success Club, you're going to think Success Club's hard. Guys, Success Club's not hard. If you've been saying, I want to be a diamond coach, or I want to be a star diamond, or I want to be an elite coach, and that's been a goal of yours and it hasn't happened, it feels hard. Those things are not hard. You're going off of your past. You're not going off of your future self yet. So you need to borrow that confidence from your future self, believe that it's possible, and you don't have to know how it's going to happen. I didn't know how I was going to become a millionaire in this business one day. I just knew I was going to stick around long enough until it was possible, until it happened. I used to say way back when, I'm the CEO of $1 million business, just like every single one of you is. If it is your first day as a coach, you are the CEO of $1 million business today. You don't have to know how that's going to happen. You just have to believe that it's possible. Because all of our success, all anyone's success means, Success Club legend, elite coach, top 10, even just working from home, firing your boss, $500 a month. Maybe those things seem impossible to you right now, but the fact that they have happened for so many other people are proof that they're possible for you. So I want you to dream big, but then my last thing on that is you gotta work big too. I used to throw things on my dream board, on my vision board, but I didn't put in the work. And I remember listening to a call from Bonnie Engel, who started after me and had a lot more success before me. And I was like, why is she so successful? And I got on a call, a training that she did in the Bombshell Dynasty, because I used to creep everybody's training videos. And she said, I'm working 80 hours a week. I was jealous of the results. I was not jealous of that work, right? I wasn't putting in the work to get to those results. So dream big, but know that it's going to require work big to get there. Okay. Now, Christina's going to help you dive deeper into that mindset and shatter your glass ceiling. So, Christina.
Yes. Oh my gosh. So whenever you get a group of really successful coaches on one call, even at Summit or at Leadership, and you hear them talk, you're going to hear a lot of common themes. And guess what? Success leaves clues. All of us have gone through this process of casting a vision and then tying a goal to that vision so that it becomes a reality. And today I want to talk to you guys about something that is likely already happening on this call. And that's that you are placing a glass ceiling over your head as we are speaking to you. As we are casting this passion and this belief in you and you feel excited, you are already starting to shrink. You are already starting to put this ceiling over your head and you're starting to say, I can't, I'm not her, I don't have enough time, I don't look like that, I don't have results. You're doing all these things. And what's that called? What's that called, you guys? Those are limiting beliefs. And I'm a true believer that in our business, this business, what makes you successful is self-awareness in your mindset. And so I want you to be cognizant of the fact that that is happening to you right now. Because if you have that power to say, gosh, what she just said resonates, I already started doing that, then that's a plus. I want you to recognize that and celebrate that you are building the muscle of self-awareness, which for me has been a game changer in this business. And I'm going to share with you a story of when I began putting a glass ceiling over my head, and I had one of our coaches on our team help me shatter that. And it has to deal with Lindsay Matway. So you guys, just to go back just a second, and I only have 5 minutes, but when DJ was diagnosed with autism, my soul was set on fire. I could run through walls with this business. There was nothing that was going to derail me from achieving the goal of retiring from the practice of law. Why? Because I had a clear purpose in why I was building this business. It was get home to my children. And the goal for me at the time was 10-star diamond to get there. So purpose, get home to my kids. DJ was diagnosed autistic, needed to get home, retire, goal, 10-star diamond. In Summit of 2014, our team achieved that. In fact, we achieved 11-star diamond. And I will never forget being in Las Vegas, and I was all about Beachbody. You guys, I bleed Beachbody blue. And Lindsay was obviously, I think that was the year the year before maybe had been top coach. She had already hit 15-star diamond. And we'd go to lunch with this new coach on our team. His name is Greg Todd. And forever, he changed my life. In fact, he changed Becky's life too. We're sitting at lunch, and he was just getting started in his business. And he said, hey, who's that Matway chick? And I said, well, she's like this baller. She's amazing. She hit Superstar Diamond. She is like killing it in the business. And someone just unmuted themselves. And he said, you need to do that. You need to do what she's doing. You need to hit Superstar Diamond 2, that 15-star thing. And I immediately said, no. I put a glass ceiling over my head and I said, I can't. And I started spewing all the reasons why I couldn't do it. I didn't have time. I didn't have the team. I didn't have all the things. I started making excuses for why I couldn't achieve Superstar Diamond in my business. My sister is the same. And he said, it's not about you. The fact that you are limiting your potential is affecting the future potential of your team. And in that very moment, now I had another purpose and I had another goal. I had another purpose and another goal. Now the purpose wasn't the recognition, which you guys, if you know me, you know I love it. I love recognition, love the stage, love the lanyards, love all of that stuff. But that wasn't what was going to get me to 15-star diamond. That wasn't enough. The purpose behind it, which he allowed me to see so clearly, was that this wasn't about me. It was what I was showing my team they were capable of. And at that very moment, I became unstoppable. That moment when Jeremy Wedd, one of our corporate advisors, said, hey, Delgado, you're going to not need 15 diamonds to make that stick. You're going to need 20. I'm like, okay, let's go. And it was because I had a specific purpose and I attached it to a big, audacious goal. And you guys, I need you to break that glass ceiling. I need you to stop looking right and left, up and down on this Zoom call and stop making excuses for why you can't do this. Success Club, Emerald, Diamond, 2-star, 5-star, 10, 15-star is only as hard as it is as you've convinced yourself in your mind. So today and into 2020, we need to break those patterns if you want to see your vision become a reality. Okay, I'm turning it over to Holly Hillier, who's going to talk to us about casting that vision publicly.
You guys, this is so, so good. Like, oh, I am so pumped up. And as I sit here and listen to everyone, go back to Lindsay, go back to those questions, start thinking about what that vision looks like. And then think about what Ashley and Christina said. Ashley, having that belief. And Christina, I loved how she got really specific. Okay, these are the goals, right? Maybe it's 10-star, it's 15-star, it's these huge goals. And they all lead to that big vision that Lindsay helped you build with those questions. And so as you're doing that, as you're building that vision for your life, and then setting those goals that are going to help you reach that vision, you also need to take the vision from in your head to down on paper in front of you every single day. And then you need to cast that into the world. So I know at the beginning of the year, we all do these vision boards and they're fun. How many of you look at that vision board every single day? I did a digital vision board. Every morning I get up, my digital vision board is the first thing I look at. I swipe past it and I write down my affirmations and my gratitude. Every single day, I look at that vision I have for my life, the goals that are connected to it, and then I speak it into the universe. I am a 15-star diamond coach. I am a top 10 coach. I am like, one of my things I say every day, I'm a kind, loving, and patient mom to my children, right? This is not just Beachbody. This is you as a whole person. And then from there, you've got to be brave enough and believe in yourself and this business enough to tell the world. I have told the world from day one what I am going to do with this business. As a new coach, we hear all the time, I can't talk about coaching. I can't. Coaching, this business, anything is possible. It is your job to show up and show people that. So when I first started, my big vision was to come home to my babies. Every day I showed up on social media and I showed people the work and the hustle that went into it. And I talked about where I was going. I didn't need to retire from my corporate job the next day, but I believed that I was going to hit the goals that were going to get me there. After that, there's always another vision. There's always something bigger we want for our life. And that changes as the seasons come and go. It was retiring from my corporate job, retiring my husband, finding a home for us. But I will say, with these visions, you want to make sure the emotion that you feel behind it, these goals, this vision that makes you cry because you would do anything for it, others need to feel that as well. So one of my more recent goals was I want to buy a lake home for our family, and that goes back to stories about my husband and his childhood and making his goals come true. But instead of just getting on there and saying, I want to buy a lake house, like on my stories, I went and I found the lake house I wanted to buy first for me, because I needed that vision. I needed every morning to wake up and see that house on my vision board, not just I'm going to buy a lake house, that house, and picture myself living in it. And then I shared it with my followers, because now I'm painting that vision for them. Now they can see themselves in my goal. You need to be brave enough to dream big for you and your family, and then brave enough to share it and allow others to come on that journey with you. And when people join you on that journey, like Christina mentioned, that is when the fun starts. And it's not just you. It's you inspiring others to dream big for their vision. So dream big, get it in front of you, and then cast that out to the world, because you will make it happen. And there will be failures along the way, and you will share those too. But those failures and you getting back up, it's just going to inspire even more people. So now I'm going to pass this over to Danielle Natoni, and she is going to talk about just releasing any of the guilt that you have to get to that big vision.
Okay, I am so excited to talk about this topic, because the first thing that I want to say to you right now, and especially because this is a female-dominated call and a female-dominated business, is that I give you permission to dream big. You are still you. Yes, I am Darren's wife, and yes, I am Adriana and Bianca's mom, and yes, I am the leader of Team Fit and Funky, but I am ultimately Danielle first. And Danielle is allowed to dream big. So right now, in this moment, in your chair or in your bed or wherever you're consuming this call from, I need you to throw away any mom guilt, wife guilt, whatever kind of guilt you are allowing yourself to feel, and realize that it is not selfish in any way, shape, or form for you to dream big. Matter of fact, I would argue that it is completely selfish for you not to. Had I never decided to dream big, my family would be living very differently. Ashley's family would be living very differently. Every person, that trickle-down domino effect would be living very differently. So if you hold any ounce of guilt in your heart or in your body right now that you don't deserve to dream big, I need you. I am giving you permission to level up and to cast a vision. I give you permission in 2020 to do things differently. And here's another thing that I need you to drop the guilt from, is this right here. This right here allows me to run a multi-million-dollar business wherever I am at. Do not get it twisted. I'm not sitting on here playing Candy Crush. I am sitting on here connecting with people. There is not a moment that I feel any kind of way for being on my phone. This phone has sent my daughter to college. This phone is paying for Darren and I to potentially have a baby through IVF. This phone is allowing my future grandchildren that aren't coming anytime soon to live a life that they never thought possible. I'm not sitting on here online shopping. I mean, sometimes I am, but this thing is powerful, you guys. There is a huge difference between somebody who's just on here mindlessly scrolling, playing games, or using this. We use this for good. Do you realize the power that this thing, you literally hold a company, you hold the power to your future right in your hand. So the other guilt that I need you to release is from your devices. You are on your devices for a reason. And so when you are on your phone, be purposeful. If you are going to sit next to your kid on the couch while you're on your phone, then you dang well better be doing something really purposeful with it. So knowing that this phone is something that allows you to create a really big business, like how cool is it? How epic is it that I get to connect with people on social media for a living? What do? I use my phone to better the world. That is freaking cool. So not only do I give you permission to dream big, I give you permission to release any guilt that you hold onto this phone, because this right here, my friends, is power in your palm, and don't you ever forget it. Now, I know that a lot of you are moms. A lot of you are moms. The other day was my birthday, and Adriana messaged me, she posted her Instagram. She posted a picture of me and she said, my queen, my role model, the woman I look up to. For all of you mothers, especially of daughters, when you don't dream big, what you do is you teach your kids to live small. When you don't dream big because you're like, oh, I'm a mom and I've got to put myself on the back burner, all that you do is you perpetuate that stereotype. You make that is a generational change that you are making. When you step up into your power, what you are teaching your girls, your kids, is that they can be anything and everything that they want to be. One of the most powerful and beautiful moments in my life was when I won the CEO award, and I texted my daughters and I said, Mommy won the CEO award. And I explained what it was. Adriana wrote to me and said, thank you so much, Mommy, for being somebody that Bianca and I can look up to. So if there is ever a moment that you feel like dreaming small, then go tell your kid that they can't be a dancer, or they can't be a scientist, or they can't be president of the United States, because every time you dream small, that's what you're perpetuating down to your children. And the final thing I will say is this. We all love J-Lo. I mean, who doesn't, right? Like, she has aging goals, she has body goals. But here's the thing. Do you think J-Lo's kids look at her and go, gosh, I wish my mom was just lazier. I wish my mom would have stayed Jenny from the block and wouldn't have gone and built and done. Same thing with The Rock. Do you think his kids are sitting there crying and upset? No, I guarantee you J-Lo's kids are like, yes, queen, just like the rest of us are. So my wish, my vision for all of you is to step into your purpose and realize that you should not be ashamed. There is no reason to feel guilt. And if at any point you decide to live small, then you aren't just affecting you, but you're affecting all the other people around you to live small. So I'm going to pass it off to Jamie Ennis now, and she's going to take us into the next layer of the call.
Okay, this call is straight fire, and I just want to tell you guys, I see the chat, I'm reading everything. You guys don't need a call like this to make these visions on your board become a reality. Like, you guys can decide today, just like Christina said, if you're a brand new coach today, these things can all be a reality. So don't wait for that moment that your life can change or the years to come into it. Like, you guys can make this happen right now. And I think I'm like, it's just so emotional. Like, I have so many feels right now just from all of these powerhouses just talking about their vision. And guys, when you feel what we feel when we're sharing these, like, it is all out of things that have changed our life because of coaching. Coaching has changed our life in all these ways. And that's because we didn't settle. We didn't, set little dreams. We dream big. And, I think a big part of that is being okay with the fact that you guys can actually accept that and embrace it. When I was a brand new diamond coach, I was at my coach's retreat, and I remember she showed a video of Lindsay Matley. Funny how we all have her helping us with our vision. And she said, you really have to treat this business like the $1 million business it'll be. And I'm like, oh, that's awesome. I'm like, I was making a little bit of money. I'm like, oh, because she's so beautiful. She's been a coach for so long, like all those limiting beliefs. And it wasn't until I started realizing, wow, maybe that could be me. Maybe I could do that. And started acting like that and treating my business like that. It wouldn't have actually became, a reality if I wouldn't have done that. So it's like, look at your business every single day with the goals that you have in mind that you look at every single day. Your vision board, is what you're doing today going to make that happen? Because if not, that's when you need to shift gears. That's when you need to see is what you're doing when you're actually working. Is it real work? Is it really going to pay off? Because if you're working hard, it will pay off. If you hang in long enough, it's going to pay off. It's a real thing. This is a real business. But I feel like so many of us limit ourselves in what we can do in dreaming bigger. And I think part of that is, us as leaders, we need to also share what our vision is with our team. And for me, it's always been those tangible items on my vision board that I talk about. And I always tell my coaches, I'm like, talk about it like it's froyo. Okay. Hopefully you guys like froyo. If not, this probably won't really make sense, but I love froyo. So, you start at the bottom, you do a little marshmallow topping, you layer it with some Oreos, put vanilla, more marshmallow topping, more Oreos, a little bit more vanilla, and I always top with more marshmallow topping, okay? So when I talk about that, I'm like salivating. I'm drooling, but every single time it just gets better and better. I want you guys to have your vision like that, something that you know exactly what that looks like. If that's your dream home, I remember when I told my team about that, I said all the different things that Steve and I envisioned it to be. And the biggest thing was I wanted a huge living room with monster windows so that I could just watch my babies and my future babies play while I drank my Energize. And now that that's my reality, like every single morning, it makes me want to cry because that is what I grinded so freaking hard for. And then I'm still going to grind for because I want to be a part of that every single morning. Every single morning. I want to put my babies to bed every night. And those are the things that, because of the tangible item of what that looked like in my head and how I talked about it, my team also realized, wow, I need to dream a little bit bigger, seeing what that looks like. And so many people think, oh, those kind of goals are selfish, or if they're financial. Guys, money isn't, what money, why is it so taboo? I don't get it. That is what is going to bring us to that financial freedom and the freedom of time. Like, how many of us want more time in our life to be with our family and our loved ones? Hello, we all do. But you guys have to really look in, lean in with what you're doing, because you have to be in the trenches with your team. You should be doing what you do as a coach on day one, the same exact thing as you do on day 901 of being a coach, 902. Like, you're putting yourself first every single day, and that's what's going to make that vision come to life, is you doing that every single day and having your team do that with a ripple effect. And, really, it's believing that this business will bring you to those things, and you have to act like the coach you want to become. If you're not yet an elite coach, act like an elite coach. Even if you're not there, what would an elite coach be doing every single day? How would she be posting? How would she be sharing? Would she take off a weekend because she needed to unplug? Got to ask yourself those questions if you're looking at the vision, but it will come for you if you give it time and you work really freaking hard. So I'm going to kick it off to my girl, Brittany, who is the queen of vision and knows everything.
Hey guys. Okay. So can you guys hear me okay? Are we good on sound? Okay, cool. So let me make sure I can pin my video. Okay, so I am switching gears here and really talking about adapting and staying committed when the unexpected happens. This has been an incredible call, obviously, right? But let's be really honest. We don't live in a bubble. We're getting ready to come up on holidays. We have real lives. We have children that are unpredictable. And so it's a reason why we have to start with vision, because if we don't have the vision out of the gate, it's just not, our work ethic is not going to withstand our human nature or our surrounding circumstances. So you might be thinking to yourself, okay, I believe this. I've loved everything that everyone's saying. I'm on board. I'm in it. But then what happens when your family comes to town for Thanksgiving and you committed to a certain thing and now your house is crowded? Or what happens when, even worse, for me, my challenging situations through my coachhood was been deployments, moving cross country, being an introvert. My personality, I felt, held me back, was a limiting belief, going through infertility, going through IVF, and then other things just like everyday life. Or maybe your kid is going through a sleep regression and you feel like you're going to die if you don't sleep. There's all these real life things that are happening, right? And so I want to bring some tangible advice, okay? This vision has to come first. You've got to spend time on the vision. So I hope that you saw Lindsay put in the chat the questions that I wrote them down super fast, but I hope that you spend time there, because that's where it has to start. The vision has to come first, because I'm telling you, no matter how committed you are, it's going to be very tempting to dive in a little bit less when things are challenging, okay? So I want to introduce something to you. Let's just take the holidays. Let's not take the heavy stuff. Let's take just life is busy, okay? I completely honor and recognize that there's heavy stuff too in life that we have to kind of navigate through, but this is your business. And this vision for your business is possible to allow the rest of your life and your family's life to breathe a little bit easier, love a little bit harder, give a little bit more, whatever it is that you want. And so let me give you some of this practical advice, and let's take the holidays as a stepping stone, okay? So we've got this vision. We spent the time on these questions. We've got this vision. Now what do? Okay, now you identify your business baseline minimums. We've said it like multiple times now, big dreams and big work. You cannot leave out the big work, even on the freaking tough days. Even when you're at the doctor's office every week, or even when your family is going through something very challenging, because you have to see past the challenge. You've got to have the vision so clear to know that whatever circumstance you're in right now, it is temporary. But what you build here has the potential to leave a legacy for generations, and you have to believe that. So you have got to identify something that I call a business baseline minimum, okay? And this is basically just asking yourself, what is the least amount of anything that I'm willing to do? What's the least amount? And let's talk business here. So maybe it's invites, maybe it's, social media exposure, maybe it's your workout. Like, you've got to identify, no matter what, no matter how hard life is right now, I've got my minimums and I'm going to do it no matter what. No matter who's watching. That's business integrity. And so you've got to have that business integrity if you're going to build what's to come afterwards. Okay. So you identify these baseline minimums that no matter what, you're going to do them, right? And then you get to honor that commitment that you made for yourself, right? These baseline minimums that you've decided on, that's a commitment that you made to yourself. And so you're no longer fixated on these external results. You are motivated internally. You're motivated internally to accomplish these baseline minimums that you set for your business. And when you start to honor your own commitment, that is the difference maker, because it doesn't matter who recognizes you on National Wake Up Call or on a leaderboard or at Summit or on your lanyard or in your paycheck, because you're internally motivated and nobody can do that for you. And so this is how you start to build that internal motivation, by assigning baseline minimums for yourself and take responsibility for your business, because your vision is taking you beyond the uncomfortable part, right? Okay, so you're internally motivated, and your consistency is what sets you up for achieving something for the long run. That's what makes the vision actually happen. The freaking work, not the vision. The vision is good. The vision is necessary, but it's the work that makes the vision happen. Okay. So you can increase your minimum baseline, right? I'm saying this word and I hope it's not confusing. I hope you jot it down and you let it sink in, but these minimum baseline activities, you can increase those as your goals increase. You can increase those when you start to have the ability to honor your commitment to yourself. Because right now, if you're someone that's not achieving Success Club, you're not honoring your commitment to your business. That's how it is, right? I'm going to say it like it is, in love. So as you show up for yourself and you identify these baselines that you're going to commit to, you start to internally motivate yourself, because you start to follow through. And that's what allows the vision, the big picture, to actually start to come true, because you do the work, you put in the work. Okay, I love you guys so much. I'm going to turn over to Melanie. Melanie, you're going to introduce thriving over surviving. I'm so excited. Love you guys.
Oh my gosh, guys. Hey, everybody. I've been sitting over here patiently but impatiently waiting, because this has been so much fun. I hope you guys are really enjoying yourselves. So I was sitting at my desk the other day and I was really thinking about life. And I was getting really irritated because I've been getting a lot of people that are telling me I don't have enough time, I'm too busy, I can't hit Success Club, my kids don't sleep through the night, so-and-so sick. And they were like, oh, I'm going to take the next few months off. I'll come back in January. And I looked at my husband and I was like, what is wrong with people? Everybody legit went on survival mode for some reason. It's like all of a sudden, everybody just came up with every excuse in the book. And so I started, as I was kind of like talking through this thought popped in my mind about, gosh, like, why do some people go into survival mode during this time of year? And I turned to Matt and I'm like, this is the time where I thrive. This is the time where if you actually lean in to the business, you can have the most success that actually sets you up for the most growth in 2020, the following year. And so I started to kind of work through this and I started to kind of analyze and process this. And I'm like, some people and it's not that we're any busier. Honestly, if you really think about it, we're not any busier this time of year than we are any other time of the year. We're traveling, we're busy, we've got events, we have parties, we have things going on. It's just that we label it the holiday season. We label it chaotic. So what do we believe? We actually begin to believe that's true. That becomes our self-fulfilling prophecy. And so as I process this, I go, okay, so this is what we do in society. We look at the obstacle and then that's where we get stuck. And so we have a bunch of people out there that are using the time of year, excuses, I'm too busy, I work a full-time job, as our reason to just stay in survival mode. And you know, every one of these leaders on here will tell you that they worked, grew, scaled, built leaders, built depth, built volume, built their entire businesses in the busiest time of their lives, right? I actually think it's harder to build your business once you kind of start to reach those goals, because then you got to deal with complacency, right? So it is really about kind of leaning in and saying, what is the actual narrative that I'm telling myself as to whether I can or cannot build my business? So as we've been talking tonight, have you been finding yourself saying, yes, this is great, yeah, but my baby doesn't sleep through the night. Yeah, but you look that way. You already have a physical transformation. Yeah, but you have 40,000 followers on your social media. Yeah, but stop focusing on what everybody else has that you don't and start focusing on what you can create for your life and for your business. And so I did this call for my team last week because I was kind of sick and tired of the yeah buts and the surviving over thriving. And I pulled my income my first 6 months in the business as a brand new coach from the end of October to the end of December. And I analyzed it and I was like, guys, I made almost $3,000 in the last quarter of the year. And it was all commissions. 99% of it was commissions. You have so many controllable levers in front of you right now. And I maybe had 500 friends on Facebook. I don't even remember if I had an Instagram account at that point. So guys, I looked at the opportunity. I saw my gaps. I saw that I was going to have to make some sacrifices in order to make it happen. That meant getting up a little bit earlier. It meant drinking some Energize or some high caffeine tea at 2 o'clock in the afternoon when I would put the boys down for a nap. It meant waking up on Saturday and Sunday mornings when that alarm would go off and getting some work in. There were sacrifices that were required to reach the goals and my vision. But you have to be willing to make a little bit of sacrifice and get outside of your comfort zone in order to get to where you want to be. And you are not on this call tonight because you want to just survive, because you just want to work to the minimums. You are here because you want to thrive, because you want to build that life that you write down on that vision board, because you see this as a vehicle and a platform to do it. And I believe it's possible. And I don't believe you need any special talent, skills, or background to be able to make it happen. It is really, truly about hard work, vision, passion, and honestly, working on your mindset every day. That is how you will continue to get better and stronger, and you truly will thrive and not just survive in this business. All right, I am passing it over to Bonnie. You are up next, girlfriend.
Okay, I do not need to even say how epic this call is because we all already know. So I am going to come at you with a couple of statements, and when you hear these statements, I want you to type in the comments if this is accurate or ridiculous. Okay, number 1, I just won an Olympic gold medal for swimming, and it's so weird. I just started practicing 3 months before. Ridiculous or accurate? Okay, statement number 2, I just graduated college, and it's so funny because I didn't even study for 4 years. I enrolled last year and didn't do much work, and now I have a diploma. Ridiculous or accurate? Okay, challenger comes to you. I did 1 workout of the 21-day fix and I don't have abs. Ridiculous or accurate? Okay, now why is it so easy for us to say that all of these statements are so ridiculous, yet it is so hard for us to say the reason I am not where I want to be is because I did not put in the adequate amount of work to get there? We are a microwave society with some crock pot dreams, y'all. And I am here to tell you, after 6 years in this business, what you do now does not affect now. What you do now affects later. So this is also a ridiculous statement. I had the best 2020 of my business, the best year yet, But I didn't start until that year started. Completely as ridiculous as the other statements I said in the beginning. I want to tell you a little story, something I heard on Sirius XM radio. I'm sure everybody, if you know this person, type I know her. I'm sure everybody knows Lizzo, the artist. She has that famous song, super famous, Truth Hurts. It's like New Man on the Minnesota Vikings, right? Everybody knows that. You know that now. But did you know that she has been a singer since 2010? And 2019 was the first time that anybody put her on the radio? Did you also know that that song, Truth Hurts, actually came out, was written and produced in 2017, and it took her 2 full years of peddling that song to every radio station, putting it on YouTube, getting her friends to play it, etc., for anyone to ever recognize it? Did you know that 10 different radio stations just in her town told her to go home and keep her day job because no one would ever play that song? Did you know that it took her nearly 10 years to get a #1 hit, and that was her only job that whole time? But why? Why is that person successful versus the other person sitting next to you? And it was said a million times on this call, it's because they put the work in. Now, why do I say those things, and what does that mean to this call, to an excellent 2020, to keeping your vision in the forefront of your mind? Basically what it means is, and all of us leaders know this, you cannot have these big goals and these big dreams and go into a new year saying, I want to be elite, I want to double my paycheck, I want to come home from my job, I want to retire my husband, whatever that dream or goal or vision may be that this call helps put in the forefront of your mind, that starts now. Everybody who starts working right now in November, December, you will see the fruits of that labor in January, February, March. If you sit back now in January, February, March, you will hear yourself saying, oh my gosh, it's still not working. What we have in this business is called the results time delay. What you do right now will show up 3 months from now. What you do in January will show up 3 months from then. If you're having a hard month right now and you're thinking, oh my gosh, it's November, it's Thanksgiving's coming, it's holidays, it's not that, y'all. I hate to tell you this, but you're not grinding like Lizzo. You're not practicing like you want to get that gold medal. And you're not studying like you want to get that diploma. What were you doing 3 months ago? And that is indicative of where you are now. And I'm going to tell you something else. If right now you're not working hard, all these visions and goals and dreams and tips will be for nothing, because in January you will not have generated that. So now is the time to put the work in so that you can have an amazing 2020. Everybody wants to recognize the accolades and when you're on top, but the thing that they don't see is all the work that came behind that. You might look at that #1 hit and think, oh my gosh, that's so amazing. She came out of nowhere. She didn't come out of nowhere. She was grinding when nobody was paying attention to her. And that's what y'all need to be doing right now if you want these things to happen for you in 2020. And I am going to throw it over to my girl Moira, who is going to bring it home.
Oh my gosh, how did I end up with the end here? This is crazy. You guys just dropped like all the magic. Can y'all hear me? Yes? I'm good. This call is amazing. Like, vision is my jam, and it's really, really, really cool to be here and kind of come full circle with, you know, I've stood on many stages and talked about being a brand new coach in this business and watching a Lindsay Matway video on YouTube and being prompted by that exact question. And the way that I remember hearing it was, I mean, guys, I don't even think I was an emerald. If you had all the time and all the money, what would your life look like? And I want to point out a couple things, because I drive this into my team and I work with my team, and I realize that some people get stuck. And I've had coaches come to me, you know, 6 months, a year into their journey, and they're like, so that vision thing that you're talking about all the time, I haven't written it yet. And I'm like, what's wrong with you? Like, it's everything. And so what I want to suggest is that you don't freaking overcomplicate this, guys. You just take pen to paper and you let it flow. You turn some music on, you get really excited, you get those questions in front of you, and whatever comes to your mind, there is nothing that is off limits. And I want to really encourage you, just like Lindsay did, to kind of go into all the areas, because one thing I know is that I too am driven by shiny objects. And so there were lots of things in my vision as a brand new coach that I wanted. Like, I want to be a top 10 coach. I want to be a superstar diamond. I would say things like, I work with Melanie Mitro and Lindsay Matway, and look at us now. You know, that was just 4 years ago, you guys. But those things that felt like a little bit more detailed, a little bit more real, were in my vision. And what I know now too, because I still read my vision every day, which is really what I want to talk to you about, is that it has to be multifaceted. Because 9 times out of 10, the big shiny objects are going to make me hustle. And I am going to be motivated to show up and put in the work. But guys, there's some days where I could care less about being a top 10 coach. There's some days where I could care less about the star diamond rank. But I wrote about my children. I wrote about the children, that the humans that they were growing into as a result of me being in this community. I wrote about the experience I was able to give them. I wrote about how we, as a financially free family, which we were not when I wrote this vision, how we were able to contribute to society and really make a difference. And so some days that is going to drive me. Some days my kids are going to get on my last nerve, and I'm not going to care about them in my vision, but I'm going to care more about, you know, the trip to wherever. So you have to have this vision that's just, you know, beautifully messy, like all over the map, and just whatever comes to your mind, write it down. And this is what I want to close with, guys. Like, this is the action I want to take. I want you to take, because I remember where I was driving. It's going to get me emotional. I remember where I was driving when I heard that video from Lindsay. And I went home and I crawled into bed that night and I just took pen to paper. And I had no idea what wheels I was putting into motion for thousands of women's lives that I was going to go on to change. For my children to be growing up into people that blow my mind because I'm doing what I'm doing. You know, and Danielle, like what you talked about, just totally, that I get so fired up about that. Because I've made sacrifices. You know, I had to fly away and leave my son's baseball tournament this weekend. And he's like, Mommy, why do you always have to travel when I have a tournament? And I looked at him and I said, why do you always have to have a tournament when I have to travel? And he just kind of snickered. But that little boy has also gotten in the backseat of the car and like played a trick on me and told me that he wrote about Kobe Bryant or Steph Curry because he had to write about somebody successful. And then he's caught my eye and said, Mommy, I actually wrote about you. You know, that is the kind of example I want to be. I saw my little tiny 9-year-old daughter rock a speech today because she's trying to go for vice president. And there is nothing stopping her. And she would not be that little girl and that bright light and that strong voice in this world if I wasn't doing this work. So you better believe I've acquired a lot of shiny objects in this business, and that's great, but nothing compares to who my kids are growing into. And they've seen Mommy sacrifice, they've seen me work my butt off, they've seen me dream the biggest dreams, and I have given them permission to fully dream. But you guys, you can write a vision. You can make a beautiful vision board. I've done 1,000 of them in my life. They never worked because I stuck them on a shelf. And what I didn't know I was doing when I got here, I was in such a rock bottom low place that I started reading my vision in the morning. I would read my 10 minutes of personal development, and I think my vision just happened to be like stuck in the book. So I would like take it out and read it because it just made me feel a little bit of hope. It made me feel a little bit of positive emotion when I was in a really dark place in my life. And so it became habit. I started reading it every single day. And that is the biggest anchor that I have in my life, is like my morning prayer, gratitude, vision. I read my vision every single day, whether I'm home, on an airplane, at my in-laws, wherever I am. That is what I do in the first hour of the day. I mean, it takes 30 seconds, you know? And the vision shifts and the vision changes, because as we accomplish things, we need to create bigger dreams or deeper dreams or things that still evoke emotion. And what I look back on when I was a brand new coach was I was so motivated every single day to show up and put the hustle in. And Christina said, I think like 2 years ago on a call, and I'll never forget it, she said, you need to ask yourself if you are interested in this business or if you are committed. Because if you're interested, you'll do this when it's convenient, and you'll do it when it's fun, and you'll do the things you want to do. But if you are committed, you show up every single day non-negotiably. And like Mel said, you know, I've had all the things happen in my coach journey. And I remember like 9 months ago being in the hospital with my mom, not knowing if my mom was going to make it. And instead of this business being an excuse, it was my lifeline. And I've always seen it that way. And the only reason I've always seen it that way is because I work on my mindset every damn day of the week. And I read that vision every single morning. So you guys, don't listen to this call and I almost said tweet about it. Do people do that anymore? I don't even know. Don't tweet about it or you know, whatever we do. Take action. Take pen to paper tonight. Get up in the morning 5 minutes earlier and read your vision and put this into action. I believe it is the single biggest, most important thing you can do to drive your business to successes of levels you can't even fathom. When I wrote that first vision down, I sold myself so short, you guys, so short. Your dreams will get bigger and you will start to instill confidence. I'm sure there's a lot of you on this call looking at a lot of these amazing women who I'm in awe of and thinking, how do I get there? Guys, guess what? You get there through a ton of hustle and proving to yourself what you are made of and what you are capable of. I did not have this self-concept or this confidence 4 years ago, but I raised my freaking bar and I rose up to the occasion. And I looked back and thought, wow, I can do some things. And every time I accomplish any goal in this business, it's just like another brick in my confidence, you know, and I keep on going. Go out there and prove to yourself what you are capable of. So Lindsay, I kind of love being sandwiched between you and Bonnie. I think I'm going to kick it back over to you to wrap us up.
I don't know that I could possibly wrap it up better than that, but just know, I mean, seriously, guys, these ladies are all proof of what's possible. Like I just typed into the comments, I said, like, dream as big as you can and then dream just a little bit bigger, because that's what's possible in this. And you literally, the sky is the limit. So thank you all so much for being on. It has been such a blessing to me. I know that all of us have been in our little chat, like going nuts over all of you guys' excitement. It has blessed us. But the biggest blessing that you can do is to go out and use this and serve other people and create your own ripple, because the sky is seriously the limit. We're so proud of you. We're honored to be on this with you. And thank you for being up late with us. So see you guys soon.